sure could use a glass of wine. There's a rainbow over the mountains in the hundred today. There is water in the air. I heard the voice of Jesus underneath the call to prayer. Well, I've been soaking up the sun through my winter skin. I've been walking in the rain, come to cleanse my sins, singing a cappella since I'm kawaii. I found the masu at the market, among the crescents and the stars, and I still wear it for protection under western stars. We drank hazelnut coffee after the Chabni Sun parade, with Ashur Batzargis on the festival stage. And flying the back road to Alcos, through every checkpoint with these, past the camp of Yazidi refugees. I'm leaving Kawa in the morning. It's still Ramadan tonight, and this Ashureta sure do hate the pie.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would you like to join me for one now?
I would love to.
Better Your Assyrian is so good.
Thank you. I had a good teacher.
Good job. Thank you for singing with me.
Thanks for having me.
You make it so much better.
Thank you for joining me today, Tenise, in the beautiful downstairs gallery of the Craft Connection. I was just mesmerized by the Tom Hawkins paintings all around us while you were singing.
They're beautiful.
They're beautiful. So let's delve a little into those songs. You have some beautiful imagery, and then you also have some of your Assyrian language in there. I was wondering if you could maybe translate a little bit of what we just sang.
For sure, yeah. So with Ninwe, the one that we just did together, the chorus is in Assyrian, and I say Ninwe ala minnach. So Ninwe is the place, Ninwe or Ninwe, depending on the dialect you speak.
Right.
When I say Ninwe ala minnach, which means God be with you, Ninwe beiti, my home, Bidderan Allah, I will return to you, Bitnahran, which is a way of saying Mesopotamia. It directly translates to the land between two rivers, which is a way of referring to the Assyrian homeland. I say Bitnahran Chayi, which means my life. And I chose to use this because it is actually a popular term of endearment in the Assyrian language. So people will say Chayi, I would say that to you, and it means my life. But
My
it's
life.
yeah,
That's beautiful.
Isn't that beautiful? I love
really
that.
like that. Lovely. Thank you. Yeah, that's gorgeous.
Thank you.
So you've had quite a journey recently discovering some of your Assyrian roots.
It's true.
Hey? Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, it all began really only 2 or 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I grew up in Argenta, and as you can imagine, there aren't a lot of Assyrians in Argenta.
I can imagine that.
So just sort of, by the nature of how I grew up, I didn't have a lot of opportunity to immerse myself in Assyrian culture. This was even more so enhanced, shall we say, by the fact that my mom was adopted. And so that direct, relationship with our Assyrian roots culturally was, in a way severed, right? So I didn't grow up with those influences. But, here they are in my hair and my nose. So, at a certain point, it's interesting. Like, I remember growing up in the Kootenays, and people would always ask me about my heritage. And I never knew totally what to say because I'm also mixed. And it seemed like people didn't really seem that interested in me telling them that my dad's family is British.
Yeah.
And sort of whenever I would, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, right? You get it. So whenever I would sort of reveal that there was this mysterious Assyrian part of the puzzle, people were like, yeah, that's what it is. I knew it. But of course, a lot of people in this area don't even know who Assyrians are. And so it would also become that conversation of, no, I didn't say Syrian, I said Assyrian. These are two different ethnicities,
Yeah.
And then I would have to start explaining that. And after a while, I realized that I didn't really know that much about what it meant to be Assyrian. And the disconnect just was beginning to feel so wide that I wanted to start doing some homework and really understanding what this was. And actually how it all started, which makes sense being a musician, is that one day I took a chance and for whatever reason just felt called in that moment to search Assyrian music on YouTube.
Love that.
Right?
Yeah.
And I started listening to it, and I don't really know how else to say it. I was completely mesmerized. And I fell in love with the sound of the language. I fell in love with the sound of the melodies because they're different than what is primarily used in Western music. And I was really inspired. And so I started basically diving into anything Assyrian I could find.
Yeah.
I found a podcast called Assyrian Podcast. And one of the guests on that podcast, her name's Nadia Yonan. She's based in Toronto, and she is an ethnomusicologist. At the time she was cool, right?
Very.
So ethnomusicology, meaning like the merging of music with anthropology.
So cool.
So interesting.
Yeah.
So at the time, she was a PhD candidate, and she was studying the intersection of cultural trauma with Assyrian music and dance.
Wow.
Which just
big.
to me was so immediately fascinating.
Yeah.
And I found her University of Toronto email in the liner notes of that podcast episode.
Yeah.
And I just cold emailed her. I was like,
Wow.
I'm Tenise. I'm from BC. This is my story about how I'm Assyrian.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm so interested in your research and I'd love to connect. And I emailed her on a Friday night. She emailed me back on Saturday morning.
Wow.
She's like, I don't have a ton. She's very prompt.
Very prompt.
She was like, I don't have a ton of time, but she was just really excited. And she was like, we should definitely talk. And, you know, it was amazing connecting with her when we were able to do that because she's amazing. And also she introduced me to so many people. And she introduced me to the Assyrian Arts Institute, who are based in California. And they are incredible, and I really credit them with, like, they were instrumental on my journey when I talk about the process I've been going through of reclaiming my Assyrian heritage and feeling empowered to do that, because they're so welcoming of mixed Assyrians. They really go out of their way to make people feel comfortable at whatever stage they're at in learning the Assyrian language, because that can be a thing within Assyrian culture that, because, you know, Assyrian culture has been threatened by so many genocides, and there's definitely now so much effort within the culture to retain the culture. And so sometimes, you know, people will give you a hard time for not speaking the language. So it was just an amazing opportunity, like, to be welcomed by the Assyrian Arts Institute and to be encouraged. And I joined their Assyrian women choir.
Okay, yes, I've heard you talk about this women's choir.
Yeah, and it was so amazing, and all the girls are amazing. It's so funny. I was so intimidated when I first went into it because, you know, just feeling not sure how I would fit into all of these Assyrian girls. But
totally,
I love all my Assyrian girls, and they're all just, like, they're all good friends now. So
I know this is while you're just beginning to learn the language still, right?
And that was the first time I was ever singing in the language. Yeah.
Seems right, though.
It seems appropriate.
It does.
It seems appropriate to just dive in.
It does, doesn't it?
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that was really the beginning. And I felt inspired by joining that choir. And I went down to California and performed with them. I felt inspired by that whole process that I decided, okay, why not just go really deep? And I was also inspired by our friend Sarah Orton, she had written a Canada Council grant to explore and do something similar with her Doukhobor heritage.
Okay.
And we had been talking about her project a lot, and I just thought, okay, well, why don't I just try applying for a Canada Council research and creation project and see what happens. And basically, I was so fortunate to receive that grant, and that made it possible for me to. I actually did take Assyrian language lessons over Zoom.
That's awesome.
Which was primarily focused on reading and writing, actually, because it's a different script.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
right.
And so that was really helpful, though, because it gave me a visual. I'm a very visual person, and it gave me such a visual for some sounds that we don't have in the English language, like the ch, you know?
Yeah, right, of course.
Right? So, yeah, that was really helpful. Also, what the project funded, was a mentorship with an Assyrian Canadian singer-songwriter who's based in Toronto. Her name's Stella Rezgo.
Stella Rezgo.
Yeah, and she has been, she was basically my songwriting mentor in the project. One of my songs that I wrote for the project, she helped me translate the English into Assyrian.
Oh,
so
lovely.
Yeah, so it was just really, it was definitely a goal of the project to support Assyrian women. Like that was part of it. And Nadia ended up being my ethnomusicology consultant.
Love that title.
So it was very fun. I know. I was like, how do you feel about being my ethnomusicology consultant?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really blessed that I've had the support that I've had. And for that project, I was also able to travel to northern Iraq, which is part of the ancestral Assyrian homeland. Yeah, and it was very, very special. So I went with a nonprofit organization called Gishru, and they're called Gishru Bridge to Assyria.
Okay.
And it's, I think it's actually from the ancient Akkadian word, but the modern Assyrian word is Gishra, and
Okay.
that means bridge. So their organization
Nice.
is all about building a bridge from Assyrians who have grown up in the global diaspora and Assyrians who are still living in the homeland. So
Okay.
it was so special because there were about 40 of us, and we were just, all staying together, all getting to know each other so well for those 2 weeks, and just driving around in these 2 little coaster buses. And it was definitely like we all got very cozy and got to know one another very well. And we were all from, had grown up all over the world.
Wow.
Like Europe, North America, Australia, but we all shared our Assyrian heritage. So yeah, it was very special, and as you can imagine, it was a lot to process, and it was inspiring. But yeah, that was the outcome of the project, was to write songs based on that trip, essentially.
Beautiful. Sounds rich.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So right from the beginning of your journey in this discovery, then, the influence of the culture was just right in there, wrapped up with the music, hey?
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I think it's so interesting because I went through all of these questions to myself, because it's different, writing this Canada Council grant and saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to write songs about it. And basically what I was suggesting was, I'm going to do all this learning, and then I'm going to try to integrate elements of what I'm learning into the existing framework of, the folk music the folk singer-songwriter pop style music that I've already been creating. But along the way, I had so many questions like, is this Assyrian enough? Is this Assyrian enough for this to be considered part of this Canada Council songwriting project? And I finally came to the point where I realized that whatever happens is okay, And so with Ashereta, it's like, it doesn't sound sonically that Assyrian, but the lyrics are referencing the homeland, even though most of the lyrics are in English too, but it's talking about the places that I've been. And I think that there's something interesting about that, because it's also inviting non-Assyrians to experience it with me, which, like, for me, that's a very important part of it. I definitely want to honor tradition and honor Assyrians through my work, but I also want non-Assyrians to know that Assyrians exist, because that was something growing up here that when I would try to say, yeah, I'm Assyrian, people were like, I don't know what that means, or
Yeah.
do they really exist anymore? Like they would say like, oh, ancient Assyria.
Yeah.
And that's not a mistake either. Like there has been a lot of erasure of Assyrians, just like there has been erasure of many different indigenous cultures globally. And it's not a mistake, like it's very much by design, and it's, unfortunately effective. So I always say to people when they sort of apologize, they're like, oh, sorry, I thought you said Syrian. I'm like, it's okay. You don't need to apologize, but as long as people are willing to learn,
Totally. Yeah. What sounds to me like your songs are a bit of a bridge.
Thank you.
Yeah. What's that word again?
Gishra.
Gishra.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Honestly, you're Assyrian too. Very nice.
Thank you. I tried. For
Very
you,
good.
I tried.
You did very well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Bas maganach. That means good job.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thanks for sharing. That means a lot to be part of that journey with you.
It's an honor, really. Like yeah, it's so exciting to have someone be excited about singing in Assyrian, you know? So it's, yeah, because I know when I brought it, I was like, how do you feel about singing in Assyrian? And you were like, me. But I feel like it makes sense because like you and I both were in Allison's choirs and have sort of, and also like, you know, you also speak Spanish, so you speak more than one language. So your comfort level with language is probably perhaps, you know, more than the average person.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a little earlier you were raised in Argenta. For somebody who might not know what that is,
Okay.
can you tell us just a little bit about
So
Argenta?
fair. So fair. Yeah, Argenta it's a very small, rural, remote community at the north end of Kootenay Lake. And it was, well, the name Argenta is Latin for silver.
I didn't know that.
Okay, yeah.
Cool.
What is it in Spanish? What is silver?
Silver, plata.
Oh, so it's nothing close at all.
Not at all.
Okay, because I was thinking like en français, in French it's argent, right?
Oh, okay.
Which can
I
also mean
wouldn't know.
money. We don't know about that.
Okay, silver. Cool.
Yeah. So, okay, yeah. Sorry, I was just curious. So Argenta means silver, and it was a silver mine at one point. That was kind of the beginning of Argenta, of the, I should say, of that settlement of Argenta. And then a lot of, you know, what is now, I guess a lot of what is now culturally Argenta came from it being founded by Quakers. A lot of him came from California, but I think other places as well. And eventually after that, you know, it was kind of a destination for draft dodgers as well. But the Quakers set up their Argenta Friends School. And that's actually, it was a boarding school. So people, a lot of Quaker families would actually send their children to, to go to Argenta to learn, like, to hunt and fish and chop wood.
Yeah.
And
all those life skills you gotta know.
yeah. And so, I mean, my connection to Argenta came about because, I grew up there, but also my mom grew up there. So when my mom was adopted, her parents brought her back to Argenta, and that's where she grew up. And yeah, she was part of the Friends School.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
So yeah, for me growing up, I'm also an only child. So I kind of laugh about it because I'm like an only child raised in one of the smallest places, one of the most like remote places. I shouldn't say in the world, but like it feels like pretty remote as far as Canada goes.
I would say.
It's a bit remote for sure.
Remote.
Yeah, there's no cell service.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Yeah, so that's, you know,
Yeah.
that's something.
Totally. Well, I definitely know about being an only child, keeping yourself busy any way you can.
Right.
Is there any specific place in Argenta that you have very fond memories of growing up, or that were maybe inspiring to you?
It's a great question. So the Argenta Community Hall is very special to me, and that's where we've had square dances.
Nice. Love it.
Right? So fun. You got to come.
I would love to.
Yeah. I'll teach you the Virginia Reel.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's where we have our square dances. I guess growing up too, there were a lot of events. You know, there are definitely some musical people in Argenta, and yeah, we've gone through many generations of having, I guess, musical people living in Argenta. So, you know, their various connections with people would bring things that you wouldn't think would be presented in Argenta, you know, to be showcased there. So there were definitely a few shows to go to there, concerts, and also something I'm realizing as I'm saying this, something special about the Argenta Hall is that it's never locked. So it's just open, and it was always open to me,
Yeah.
you know? So as a kid, sometimes I would just go over there and play the piano. And it was a very safe space, you know, and I loved the acoustics in the room. And I think that when they say that it takes a village, you know, like it's not such a common phrase, but it's true, you know, and it's like it's the people that are very important, but it's also the places.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like, you know, I had free reign of, you know, the forests and the Argenta Community Center, and the meeting house as well, you know, was also like a safe space for me. I don't know if you know too much about Quakerism, but they call their churches meeting houses.
Okay.
Yeah, and so instead of like going to church on Sunday, you would go to meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a bit of a haven.
Very much so. Yeah, it's very, I think that's a great word. Like Argenta's very nestled, sort of in the middle of, it's like the middle of nowhere and the center of everything.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Nelson a little bit.
Sure.
Let's talk about your journey, maybe just in the music scene here. It's pretty tight-knit, but it seems like you've got lots of friends, people you play with often. Maybe tell me a little bit about your favorite collabs, favorite people to play with. Maybe even some favorite venues.
Cool. Okay. So, yeah, I guess my musical journey within Nelson started with, I went to the music program, the same one you did, a little bit before your time. Yeah, I graduated in 2015
Okay.
from that program, and sort of did some traveling and like on and off, lived in other places, but I do find myself gravitating back to Nelson. It holds so much familiarity. I think that it is the presence of the music program that keeps Nelson as this vibrant musical community. It keeps it fresh, you know?
It does.
It's pretty great that so many touring bands will stop in Nelson on their way, like from Vancouver to Calgary. You know, like I think that's special.
Yeah.
And, you know.
Some people you really wouldn't expect.
Totally. And the opportunity for, you know, local artists like you and I to open for those people too. Like it's pretty unique, I would say. I guess, yeah, it's been a process. I think just finding where I fit within this musical community, and also, you know, as your music evolves, that changes as well. But I definitely feel like Nelson is here for me, and I appreciate it. Do I have a favorite venue? Like, I don't want to play favorites, but I love playing at the Royal.
Of course.
Spirit Bar's fun. Do a little opening set at Spirit Bar. Played at Black Cauldron recently too, and that was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to leave anybody out.
I have fond memories of playing at Spirit Bar too. Did you guys play with ensembles
Yes,
at
we
school?
did. Yeah. I did.
That was always fun.
Like my very last show of school there, actually.
At the Spirit Bar? That's
yeah.
nice. Out with a bang, right?
Totally. Went out with a bang. Of course, I can't forget the Capitol Theater.
Of course.
The Capitol Theater is top notch.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I will also say about living in Nelson, you know, I've been very fortunate to feel supported by the arts organizations here too. So I've had a few tours of the Columbia Basin that have been supported by the Columbia Basin Trust and the Columbia Kootenai Cultural Alliance, and the West Kootenai Regional Arts Council has been very supportive of various projects. So
that's great.
it's incredible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that is definitely not to be overlooked or taken for granted. So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I bet. I've got one more question here I want to ask you. which is, at this point in your journey, that is going to be ever continuing, as is all of ours. How do you hope that your presence might affect the musical landscape of the area?
That's a great question. So I think for me, it's interesting. I consider myself a recovering perfectionist and
I can relate to that.
right, and also a recovering people pleaser. I think I have spent a lot of my life trying to fit in, and I finally sort of had a breakthrough recently and realized that I don't want to fit in. I clearly was just not born for that.
Clearly.
It just doesn't fit. So, I have jagged edges and they don't fit. And really, what a strange thing for a performer to aspire to fit in. I mean, I should be aspiring, or at least accepting, embracing the fact that I'm actually going to stand out. So something I think about is I don't want to create art that's already been created, so that's been an interesting part of my Assyrian journey. Is I have grown to really appreciate a lot of more traditional Assyrian artists, and I guess honor and respect them without trying to become them, because I'm not ever going to be them. I should be trying to be myself, but also, that is a piece of history of music that exists, and it's just beautiful the way it is. So innovation is important to me, and I am finally comfortable with blending the different parts of myself. That comes from like being comfortable with yourself, and obviously it's a process.
It's always a process.
I don't have it all figured out, but that is the goal. And the way that I hope that impacts other people is I want people to know that it's okay to be who you are, and that it's okay to embrace your heritage. And, even if you've had experiences that aren't the best. So growing up, when I would say that my grandma was born in Iraq, I would have people kind of go, ooh, like, like straight up, yeah. And it's hard for things like that to not put a bitter taste in your mouth. But I will say that, through both solidarity with indigenous peoples globally, as Assyrians are indigenous, as well as just solidarity with Middle Easterns in general, specifically because the Middle East is so stigmatized. I really did experience that, like growing up, people didn't necessarily pick me out and associate me as being Middle Eastern, but whenever I explained who Assyrians were, I would kind of encounter a little bit of that reaction sometimes. And so I guess a lot of my focus and a lot of my passion lies in destigmatizing the Middle East, because it's a very vibrant, rich, and diverse area. And so that's something that's important to me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great. That's special. Tenise, the Gashra.
The Gishra.
The Gishra. I like that.
Thank you.
Thank you. The Craft Connection is a Nelson-based cooperative of artists that was formed in 1983. In their very first location, down at our local mall, they had a rental agreement of 15% of their overall sales. At some points, the Craft Connection has been managed by up to 30 members, though now in 2024, there are 6 artists running it. In their current location, 378 Baker Street, the Craft Connection sells art and handmade products by over 200 artists from all over BC. You can find the following things here: pottery and ceramics, metalwork, jewelry, paintings and sculptures, weaving, clothing, textiles, woodwork and furniture, glasswork, baskets, brooms, candles, and soaps. It's definitely a favorite stop for locals and for tourists alike. I would like to give a very big thank you to all the members of the Craft Connection for allowing me to host the very first ever Sapphire Sessions here in their beautiful downstairs gallery.
The